Hi. It's been a minute. How is everyone? Good? I hope you're good. I'm not going to be able to see your comments, and because I have my light over here, so I can't see what you're saying. So if you see someone that's saying things that are rude or whatever, I'm not going to be paying attention too much. But it's been a pretty mellow couple days. I've been feeling very... This is a heavy topic, and I have been stuck in a heavy topic for months, and it's hard to disconnect from those feelings. And I think about the people that are in this world, and I'm like, they can never disconnect from this. So I try to push through that, and I'm like, yeah, if they can't disconnect from this, I shouldn't be so emotional or whatever. But it's, this world that I've been covering for X amount of years at this point is really, it's disturbing. And I don't know if I can adequately say this in a way that I feel like I've been going up against a brick wall with some people, specifically those people that were lied to by TLC about who the Duggars were. And it's really unnerving to me that I do a job, and I'm trying to do a job, and I'm trying to report, and I spend a lot of time putting content out, and I'm constantly I'm amazed by the people that I speak to and how manipulative they are, and how cunning and how narcissistic they are. It's a world that I have never been a part of. I did not grow up in fundamentalism, so I'm going to be frank, I have not dealt with the kind of narcissism that's in this specific group of people. And the men that I've had the opportunity to speak to, I would say only maybe one or two, I think, aren't narcissists. It's been a lot of men kind of pointing fingers at each other, and everyone kind of well, they were worse than we were. I wasn't as bad as this guy. This guy is the one that's the really bad guy. And, it's sad because there's really no way to tackle a world like this, because you want to know why nobody speaks out. I learned why. I learned why nobody shares. I learned why no one testifies. I learned why people cover for each other. Because if they come forward, their secrets get exposed too, and they all have secrets. They're all doing just horrible shit. And it's sad. It's really sad. And so one person comes forward and they testify against this person, but then they have their own shit in their own house that's just as bad. And they don't report things to the police. So some of you guys were like, if you're reporting on something, why aren't you reporting this stuff to the police? Okay, I made a post a couple days ago about child abuse. When I'm reporting about child abuse, the claims that I'm hearing about are 20 years old. So am I supposed to call the police about claims that are 20 years old and report child abuse from 20 years ago? That's from secondhand, not from the actual person, but people that saw it or saw the bruises. I can't report stuff that I was not a witness to and I don't have firsthand knowledge of. So no, I can't report this abuse. These claims are 15, 20 years old. These people are adults. Many of them are adults. But it doesn't change the fact that nothing might be able to be done legally, but maybe people knowing who these people are and what they're doing can hold people accountable. We can't force, the statute of limitations for child abuse isn't very big. The only one that has no statute is like murder. And then some states have limited ones or longer ones for rape. But most are a couple years. And after that, like, it doesn't matter if a crime was committed. They literally, there's nothing that they can do. So the statute of limitations is horrible, for sure, but there's nothing I can do about a claim of someone getting beat up when they're 5 and they're 30 now. I can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about a girl saying that, there's creeps at my church and they're doing this and they're doing that. And she's 25 now. There's nothing I can do. Not only that, on top of that, I feel like people have become so brainwashed, even people that watch content or watched the Duggars, they're so brainwashed by who they think these people are that when you actually sit down and get to know these people and you talk to them, like, we can sit there all day and be like, okay, this person's better than this person because this person is speaking out against Jim Bob. But that's not really how it works. Like, just because one person speaks out doesn't mean that they're any better or any worse. It literally just means they're speaking out. There are definitely victims of the kids. The kids are the victims in this case. Most of them who are adults now that grew up with the Duggars, some of them are still in the cult. Some of them have left. Most of them are still like in this world. And even if they're out of the world, they still have wholly problematic beliefs. And, I try to see the best in everyone, and I try to see like what's good in people and give people the benefit of the doubt. And it's sad because even the people who claim that they want these things to end, they don't want to take the steps to end things. They don't want to change their own behavior. They don't want to admit that they were a part of the problem. They don't want to, even if they weren't part of the IBLP, they don't want to admit that they benefited from the IBLP. They benefited from the fame. They benefited from something. So they're only like in one breath, like angry because they got silenced or because the Duggars were smearing them. But at the same breath, yes, they got smeared, but the whole plot of people, they're diseased in a way. Like, the whole cult has created people that are so damaged and diseased that you don't even know who's good and who's bad. And even the people that claim to be good aren't that great of people. It's hard. That's not to say that there aren't people that come out of this that are very good people, that heal, that go through therapy. But a lot of those people are not the ones that I'm talking to. Okay, admittedly, I have a lot of survivors that I speak to that are doing really good jobs in therapy, and they're doing the best to break the cycles of abuse and take care of themselves. And I'm not talking about any one person. Don't connect any dots. I'm not shading anyone. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm literally speaking in general. If you're like sitting there, I'm not talking about Derek or anyone like that. Like, this isn't about one person. Anyways, if you have no sound, go back in and go back out. But it's not just the abuse, it's the massive misinformation. It's the amount of bad information these people have. And even people who are not in this world, like that are showing up in my comments that defend some of these teachings, I'm like, do you realize that what you're defending is actually false? It's not even based on the Bible. It's not even true. It's false. And you can't argue against these people because it's like they believe that this is true even though it's not true. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, let's speak in very practical realities, okay? So there are people that have distanced themselves from the Duggars, right? Some of them are still extremely homophobic. Some of them are still extremely misogynistic. Some of them are very sexist. Some of them are still racist. They can leave the IBLP, but some of those beliefs are so deeply ingrained that they don't let those things go. Like, here's an example. Jill Dillard believes that the earth is only 6,000 years old because that's what they teach in the IBLP, and it's false. There is way too much scientific evidence that proves that the earth has been around longer than 6,000 years, but they refuse to look at the information. And in a YouTube video, Jill and Derek talk about this, and Derek, who seemingly was at the time getting a law degree, wouldn't comment and wouldn't declare that what his wife was saying was actually false. It's actually verifiably false that the world is not 6,000 years old. It's verifiably false that the world is not flat. It's verifiably false that dinosaurs and people did not live on the earth at the same exact time. It's false. But if you tell these people that it's false, they literally don't believe you. So even if Jill has wiped away some of the stuff she grew up in, she still believes the earth is 6,000